Hello, Master Dogen here. I want to tell you a little bit more about my debut full-length album, The Art Thief, Volume 1, Part 1, and how this is different from anything I've made in the past. I guess first of all, why am I calling myself Master Dogen? Why not Dick McInnes or Risen Sun, I suppose? And the reason is that this project, from a writing standpoint, is completely different than anything I've done in the past. In the past, when I wrote a song, I was always doing so in the heat of the moment. You know, I felt a strong emotion and then I wrote about it. And as a result, the things that I wrote were often, well, let's just call it what it is. Were often just straight up bullshit. Victimizing myself. Saying, oh geez, I am so hard done by. Even when talking about like my own mental health struggles, like with addiction and stuff, I would say things like, oh, like I'm in such a horrible position and I just got to pull myself up by my own bootstraps. But like that doesn't work. And this project, Master Dogen, specifically this 6-album work, The Art Thief, this is a memoir. This is going to cover basically 21 years of my life from the ages of 21 to 42. Each volume covers about, pretty close to 7 years, almost exactly. I've changed the order of the songs. They're not necessarily in chronological order. And I've just done that for storytelling purposes. The flow works better when I put these songs in the sequence that I've chosen for them. But other than that, it's not like semi-autobiographical. It's 100% completely autobiographical. The only thing that has changed is sometimes the order in which things happened. But being a memoir, I'm able to now see the past more clearly, or rather to see my past self more clearly, and to be able to see things like almost every time that I claimed victimhood to a situation or to the actions of another person, it was a defense mechanism, and often it was just a lie, even if I didn't know that it was, or maybe was too afraid to admit it at the time. So when I talk about things like in 10,000 Cigarettes, the opening track and the lead single from The Art Thief Volume 1 Part 1, when I talk in that song, I talk about like burning bridges and just letting go and walking away. And there's the next single is called The Read Through. And I'm basically being very dismissive of an early relationship that I had. And the third single is called Narcissistic Greed. And I'm basically just talking about being a creep. And because it's a memoir, I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. I don't want anyone to think that the things that I'm talking about are somehow self-aggrandizing, and I understand why it can be seen that way, because I definitely was that way in the past, when I knew a lot less about myself. But in doing, like self-searching and shadow work, when I write about those things now in this memoir, The Art Thief, even calling it The Art Thief, it's not an absolution, it's not aggrandizement, it's not even necessarily an apology, but rather it's a self-indictment. I'm not looking for anyone to say, you were doing the right thing back then, or in this mindset when you talk about burning bridges, that, oh yeah, well, you were doing the right thing. I was not doing the right thing. And the whole point of this project, for me personally, psychologically, as a therapeutic thing, is not to escape my past self. It's to face it head on and to show that what a person actually does when one matures and is honest with oneself is to take accountability, to quit with the excuses. And of course, this thread will become more apparent as the project goes on. I mean, volume 1 is very much discussing, those years between the ages of 21 and 28, where I was an arrogant prick. I was a totally arrogant prick. So when I'm taking on the character of the art thief, which is basically Dick McInnes, but so when I take on that personality, that persona, and I talk about those 7 years of my life, that's very much when I was completely in the dark, and I basically thought that I was the protagonist of my own story. As all trilogies go, the second act, or the second volume, or if it's the second movie, if you're doing movie trilogies, is always the dark one. And so that will be more apparent when that comes out, as the character of the art thief realizes that, maybe I'm not the good guy, because, if I'm not the antagonist, if I'm not the bad guy, then who is? If there is a bad guy, unfortunately, it's me. Anyway, so I just wanted to explain that so that nobody gets the wrong idea or thinks that I'm buying into my former peccadillos or my former attitudes, or that I'm defending that, or that I'm glorifying it, or anything like that. I absolutely am not. When I'm talking about burning bridges and not caring about it, when I'm talking about narcissistic abuse that's coming from me, when I'm talking about being completely dismissive of somebody else's feelings, that is not me saying this is the way to be. That's me conducting an absolutely, completely raw and utterly scathing critique of myself, because honestly, I think that's what's necessary in order to grow. And the second we stop growing, we start to die. And I'm not ready to die yet. Peace.